Hello, happy Thursday. We are just waiting for a few more people to join. And admitting.
Hey, good morning, Kendra.
Good morning, Peter. How are you?
Okay, pretty good. I wasn't here last week. Was the training recorded on Facebook?
I don't know if it was on Facebook. I know that they are all recorded.
Oh, okay.
Morning, Vince. Or good afternoon, whatever time it is. Okay, just waiting for a few more people to join. Does anybody have any questions? There's an echo, so if you have background noise, just please mute yourself and be mindful of that. But if anybody has any questions, please feel free to jump in while we are waiting for people to join.
Claudia Gonzalez, Yasmin Al-Kujala at the Washington Post, and former federal prosecutor Elliot.
So we're going to get started in just a minute. We're just waiting for a couple more people to join. I inevitably start my training and then like 4 more people join that I need to let in. So we're just going to give them a quick minute. And I'm just going to message someone that said they were coming that I don't see yet. Okay. So does anybody have any questions before we get started? Okay. And guys, I try to be mindful of the chat as well as everything else, but I don't have anybody minding it for me. So if there's something that you've posted in the chat that I have not addressed in a couple of minutes, please feel free to jump in and just ask me, because the chat is usually the item that gets neglected. So, all right, it's almost 5 past. I think we're gonna get started at this point. So let me just share my screen real quick. Share screen 1. Oh, yep, admitting people, just 1 second. Okay. So everybody can see the 360 logo?
Yep.
Okay, good. Just making sure I shared the right screen. Perfect. So it has, oh, sorry, admitting people. Yep. As soon as I get started, people start joining like mad. It's really interesting. I should start earlier and then everybody will join. Anywho, going forward. Okay, so it was brought to my attention a couple of times this week that it's been a while since we've actually gone through the whole system with, you know, as if we were sitting down with a client from start to finish. It doesn't seem like that long because I do it all the time, but that is apparently the case. So I was going to run it down so that everybody can see it. And just admitting people, give me a quick second. Okay, great. So I need a couple of volunteers to role play with me. Don't everybody jump in at once. I will call on people if I don't get volunteers. Okay, so Cece and Sabrina, are you guys on the call?
I'm on. I'm at work, but I can do a little role playing. What do you need?
Okay, great. You get to be my client for this scenario. So in this case, we are going to say that you are married, you have kids in high school, and you are trying to send them to college. And other than that, I'm going to let you make it up. So we are going to add our client, Sabrina client. If I could spell, that would be great. Client@gmail.com. Okay, so how old is our client? Let's start there.
Our client has kids in 44.
They'll be 44? Okay, great. So
Mhm.
that is 78.
Mhm.
Okay, great. Just making sure that my math skills are still working. 1978. Any particular month and day?
Do you think the May 12th?
May 12th. Awesome sauce. May 12th. So we are going to get started. And we said that our client is married. So our spouse needs a name.
Anthony.
Anthony. Anthony client. And how old is Anthony client?
1966.
1966. Awesome. 1966. Month and day?
Yes. 7/17. Hold on. Hold on.
Yep. 7/17. Okay, update. Okay, perfect. So we're going to go into our client and we're going to go over the 10,000-foot view of what we can do for our clients. And honestly, if you're new, you can more or less just read this down. So Mr. and Mrs. Client, basically what I do for people is we put a plan together to protect and cover all of
So I
life's
had to,
changes.
hi,
Hi.
I'm driving, so I'm gonna just be in listen mode.
Okay, that's fine. I
Kendra,
call on
I'm
people when I
so
get volunteers.
sorry.
Oh yeah,
They
okay, you ready?
just asked me to come to a meeting. Like
Ah.
this minute.
Okay. In which case I need a new volunteer. All right, we'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, Sabrina, that's fine.
Okay.
Message me later, it's fine. So
Okay.
we're going to go over with Mr. and Mrs. Client all of the things that we can do for them very, very quickly, like 90 seconds or less. So we're going to create a plan to protect and cover all of life's changes, the ability to eliminate debt and stay debt-free for life, create a guaranteed retirement strategy so that you know when you can retire, how much you need in retirement, how much you will have in retirement, know exactly how much income you can draw for life, a retirement income that is 100 to 150% of the income that you were living on before you retired. You'll have protection from all catastrophic events, financial, market, or health related. You'll be able to leave a probate and estate tax-free inheritance to your children and grandchildren. We provide a financial education that everyone needs, and you'll have the ability to pay for all large ticket items in cash going forward, whether that's boats, cars, retirement properties, houses, vacations, whatever you want. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Awesome. And right now you're probably thinking, how is it possible that they can promise all of that? So we're going to show you how that works. Okay. So first things first. So why are we here exactly? What is it that you're concerned about planning for? What are we doing? What's going on? Peter, you spoke up, so you volunteered.
Oh, what are we doing? Oh, we're planning for retirement and,
We have kids in high school going to
Yeah.
college.
we have kids going, that are in high school going to college.
Okay, great. So we're going to take a look at what we have going on.
Kendra,
Yes, hi.
hey Kendra, can I be a case? Because I actually have a real case. Maybe I can help you out in this matter.
Awesome, great.
Awesome,
I have a
awesome,
willing
awesome.
volunteer. Okay, so we have a kid in high school. So let's start with, what is this kid's name?
So, okay.
You can
let's
make it
say
up.
Joy.
Joy?
Yes.
Perfect. So how old is Joy? What year in school are they?
She's in second grade right now.
Okay, we can go with that. So second grade. So third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th. So she's got 10 more years and she's starting second grade now, or she just
Yes.
finished second grade?
Starting.
Okay. Which guys, that can be a little bit confusing, especially when we're talking about the months of June to September of actually sitting down with the client. So you want to make sure that you're confirming with your client what year they're actually going to school. So 10 years from now is 32. So she's starting second grade now. She'll be starting college in 33. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, have you thought at all what your total cost to send Joy to college is going to be?
Well, our older brother is in college right now. He's 21, so he's costing about 35 a year. And he has scholarship on top of that. So for
Okay,
the
and
housing and for the housing and every other, does that help?
okay, so her older brother is in school now.
Yes, he's in college. He's in his third year.
He's in his third year. So, okay. So we've got 2 more years for him, right? And you said it's costing $35,000?
Yeah, it's average. Well, it's averaging us about 15, but in total it's about 35. If we look at everything in total.
Okay, so your out-of-pocket cost is $15,000.
Yes, because
Okay,
it's
great.
living off campus.
So $30,000 is what you are going to spend on him for the next 2 years, because you said he's in his third year, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, awesome. And what's his name?
His name is Ball.
Ball?
Yeah, Ball. Ball.
Okay, great. And how long do we think Joy will be in school for? 4 years?
Yes.
Okay, great. 4 years.
There's
And
a
saying
background noise.
that's fine.
Go ahead.
Saying that it's going to cost $35,000 a year. Let me drag my calculator in here. And guys, whenever you need to do math, feel free to drag in a calculator. You're not hiding anything from your client. You don't have to do everything off the top of your head. $35,000 times 4 years is $140,000. That sound about right?
Yes, it does.
Okay, awesome. So $140,000 for 4 years. And are there any other children?
There's a 1-year-old.
1-year-old. Okay, so we got some time to plan for that. That's awesome. So 1-year-old, so 17 years from now is 2039. Does that sound yes,
Yes.
2039 sound
Yeah.
about right? Okay, great.
Yes.
And are we thinking that what is this child's name?
His name is Ali.
Adelaide?
Ali. A-L-I. Ali.
ALI. Okay, sorry. And are we also thinking that Allie will go to school for 4 years?
Yes.
Awesome.
I better fix
And
it.
are we thinking that that's going to be a similar cost to Joy's education?
Here,
Well, with inflation and time, when it's probably gonna be a little bit. I mean, we'll say yes, but factor in inflation, we figure it'll probably be more.
Okay, so I mean, would 150,000 be a better target, do you think?
I think it will make sense given
Okay,
the
great.
time, given it 10 years from now.
Okay, great. So $150,000. And anybody else?
That's it.
Okay, great. So
As far as
update
kids.
college.
Yes.
Awesome. So really what we've got here is we've got Ball who's in school now, and then we've got a few years, and Joy goes to school in 2033, and Allie goes to school in 2039. So over the next 20 years, you're going to be spending $320,000 on just college funding, which averages out to be about $16,000 per year. So first off, let me ask you, do you have a financial advisor right now?
Say that again.
Do you have a financial advisor that you've been working with?
Yes, I do.
And
Oh,
what was,
no, I don't.
oh, no, you don't. Okay. So have you thought at all? So obviously you're currently paying for Ball's education, but Joy's a little bit further out and Allie's even further out than that. Have you thought at all how you're going to pay for their education?
Not quite. I mean, when I had Ball's planning, I was able to use my life insurance that I had established when I first was introduced to it. and it helped out. So I figure since it worked for him, maybe it could work for this other too. But
Awesome.
uh,
So you're actually ahead of the game. So for the sake of this training, I'm going to pretend that we didn't hear that. And honestly, though,
okay,
like if you have a
okay,
client that tells you that they have life insurance that they have been tapping into to pay for college or pay for something else, they're ahead of the game. But chances are they don't have it funded well enough, and they're going to need a second bank, if you will, and that's what you're going to design for them. But it's going to be so much easier to train them what they need and how to do it than your average client. So
well, can I say something, Kendra?
yes,
And also, it might have been a long time that they had a plan put in place and they hadn't had a review, and things that they thought they knew, they might not know anymore. So
that
this
is
might be an
also true.
opportunity to come in, and just because they have the plan and they've used it doesn't mean they are up to par with someone that's daily, like an agent that's constantly educating clients. So I would take another look at that same client as maybe someone that
Oh
knows
yeah.
something but not enough. Does that make
Oh
sense?
yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're obviously, like, if somebody tells you that they have a whole life policy that they have been drawing on for funding other things, that's great. And I'm not going to disqualify them as a client. Honestly, it just makes my job that much easier.
Mhm.
But depending on the age of that policy, maybe they got it when they were 18 and the
No, it
the
was an
the funding
IUL
limit is low. It
it
might
was
be an IUL.
it
Oh,
was
it
an
is.
IUL at the time in this case. Yes.
Okay, great. In which case, yeah, we're definitely going to look at that. But I don't know that yet unless you've just told me.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but
Sorry.
let's say this client does not have a
Policy.
they
Any
don't
policy.
have a whole life policy yet. Or you don't, that's an IUL, but let's say that they don't have a permanent life insurance policy that builds cash value yet. On this page, what we're trying to do is to get the client to tell us something that they have considered doing or would consider doing to fund their kids' education. I mean, are they looking at tapping into their retirement funds? Are they looking at taking out a home equity loan? What about college loans, which there is severe limit to? So basically that's what we're trying to do. What have we thought about? So
Are you asking me or are you telling me?
sure, go ahead.
Well, we still very much feel like with time on the rising and being experienced with this older child, we thought about putting them on the path of scholarship, and then we just build a supplemental funding system that would go with that,
Are
because
they particularly athletic?
we can't make them athletic, or we can. And I mean, the oldest one is athletic. Yes, it's an athletics program, and being having a success on the first part gives us the courage to think that we can do it again and again. Does that make sense?
It does. And I mean, that's definitely an avenue to consider, but she's what, 7, 8 years old now? Second grade?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a lot of time for
Mm-hmm.
her to decide that she wants to go a different direction, that she doesn't want to do sports like that all the time. Or, maybe she will be that great and maybe not. So there's still time there for many things to happen. So
Yes.
where we're talking about scholarships outside of athletic scholarships, only about 3% of educational costs are actually funded through scholarship. So that is something that we need
Okay.
to be prepared for. And as I said, I want to make sure that all of my clients are prepared come what may. Does
Could
that
you
make
repeat
sense?
that stats again? Yeah, that makes sense.
Only about 3% of financial costs are covered with scholarships
Okay.
outside of athletic scholarships. So unless your kid is getting a D1 scholarship, chances are you're not going to be able to fund their education with scholarship.
Yes, I agree.
So, and when we're looking at a kid in the second grade, you know, we very much hope that they'll get an athletic scholarship, but they're so young at this point that we can't really say that they will have interest or ability to do that. So there's a lot of time. And I'm not saying that they won't. And if they do, awesome. We will have a party to celebrate.
So something, just a question to clarify in my thought. So when you say only 3% of non-athletic scholarship are funded, you mean that academic scholarship, it covers only about 3% of cost for
Academic scholarships are few and far between.
okay,
The vast majority of scholarships coming directly from schools are for athletics.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, and there are like random scholarships, like green-eyed, red-headed, 6-foot girls, you know, random scholarships, but they don't necessarily provide the amount of money that a student is going to need to get all the way through school.
Got you.
So that's why we say about 3% of the total cost is generally covered by scholarships. So we need a plan B, especially where our child right now is 7 years old. We definitely need a plan B, because plan A, if plan A works, awesome. Now you have a lot of money that you don't have earmarked for something. But if plan A fails or falls through or something changes, you have a fail safe, and that's what you want to have.
Gotcha.
Make sense? Okay.
Yes, it does.
So, when Ball was in high school and starting to look at schools, when did we actually start planning to pay for his education?
So when did the planning of his education started?
Yeah, when did we start saving money to send him to school?
When it was about 3.
Okay, you are the exception, not the rule. So, for the purposes of this training, most people are coming to me when they have a sophomore, junior, or senior in high school, and they say, we don't have anything, or we have we have this much money in a 529, which is probably going to get them maybe through year 1, and that's it. And okay, great. So we've known their whole life that they were planning on going to school, or that we wanted to send them to school. And, you know, now they're a senior and we're trying to pay for it. So we're trying to create a little bit of pressure, but not so much pressure that they hang up on you.
Gotcha.
So, right. Just to make them a little bit uncomfortable. And I have had clients yell at me at this point, like, this is why I'm coming to you for help. It's like, I'm just trying to get a benchmark. I just want to know what we've thought about, so that I'm talking to you about things that are relevant. You know, when I start suggesting things like, have we considered cashing in IRAs? Have we considered taking out HELOCs? I just want to know what has already crossed your mind, so that I know what I can just leave out of this conversation because you've already talked about it. And you know what, guys? Can I give you a little bit of a reprieve and you can stop beating yourselves up now? Everybody says yes at this point.
Please do. Yes. Do.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So have you ever heard of Cyril Northcote Parkinson? It's okay. You can say no.
No.
Okay. Most people have not, but Cyril Northcote Parkinson was an economist in the early part of the 1900s, and he discovered all of these laws that, like it or not, know it or not, we're all subject to. So Parkinson's first law actually is that work expands as to fill the time available for its completion. Case in point, when Ball had a book report that he had to do in high school, and he had 4 weeks to get it done, when was it actually finished? When was it finished?
The final minute of it.
Right. It was done the night before, right? Sometimes the morning it was due. Right? So this is Parkinson's law. And the same law applies to you guys planning to send your kids to college. Your kid is now a senior. You've known for 17 years. It's not that you're poor planners. It's not that your kid is lazy. It's that we're all subject to Parkinson's law, that work will expand to fill the time available for its completion. So we're now at the finish line and we need to figure it out now. So it's not just you guys, it's everybody. But there is hope. We can fix this. Would we like to look at how?
Yes.
Great. So at this point, we're going to move on to step 2. Okay. So our client has told us that they are not working with a financial planner. Okay. We already know this. If they are working with a financial planner, we might ask them what their financial planner's advice was, what their plan was to cover all of the things that we're going to talk about. But in this case, we don't have a financial planner. We don't need to prove that they're not doing their job because they don't exist. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is our current lifestyle, right? So you get a paycheck, monthly, bi-weekly, weekly, whatever. It goes into your, are you saving anything in qualified funds, 401ks, 403bs, that stuff?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So with a client that is, you just say, okay, so, you know, before you get your paycheck, some of it comes out and flows into your qualified funds for retirement. The rest of it comes into your checking account, which goes to your monthly budget. You pay all your bills, you live your life, and at the end of the month, whatever's left over goes into the savings, the emergency fund, what have you. Sound familiar?
Sounds familiar. I do have a paycheck.
So this is what everybody does. So at the end of the month, do you feel that you have more days than dollars or more dollars than days?
More days than dollars.
Yep. That is about 99% of the population. So, okay. This is what we call our life wheel. So right now, you guys are 44 and 56. When were you thinking about retiring?
Well, we were thinking about 65, but we're gonna go to about 69 for me, and she's gonna do it about 62.
Okay, so we're gonna say 60. Where's my button? 62 and 69. Awesome. Update. Okay, so we know that we've got 3 kids going to college, and that's going to cost us a total of $320,000. And once they graduate, you know, theoretically, they will have met somebody, they're going to want to get married. Were you planning on helping them with weddings at all?
I haven't got that far yet. I mean, I figured if there's any money left from whatever they did spend in college, we can allocate it towards those type of
Okay.
essentials.
So basically what I'm hearing is that if you are in a financial position to help them with weddings, you will help them with weddings. But if you're
Yes.
not in a financial position to help them with weddings, obviously you can't.
On
Right.
their own, they are. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And I'm assuming that that would be the same for helping them with, say, a down payment when that 1-bedroom apartment is too small and they're having a grandchild.
Yes.
And how much do you guys spend on cars? How often do you get a new car?
Say that last part again.
How often do you get a new car?
Let's say every 5, average of 4 or 5 years.
5 years? Okay, great. And what do you spend on cars on average?
In terms of what? The car payment or
The
combined?
total, the MSRP, the total cost of the car.
The current car, well, we just paid off our last car. That was about 29 grand.
Okay, so about $30,000 every 5 years. So between now and retirement, you are going to need 3 more cars, and your wife is going to need 4 more cars. So that is 7 cars times $30,000 is $210,000. Do you guys take vacations?
Not in a while.
Not in a while? How come?
Well, the kids, I mean, we do a little bit of here and there, but not the kind of one we want to take yet.
No
Because
dream
of the-
vacations.
Well, we do have a few, but just waiting. I mean, the COVID kind of held the volunteers back, so we are just on the verge of trying to get to that point back again.
Okay, that's good. At least you have plans. You know, that makes me feel a little bit better. My clients love taking vacations. And, you know, whether they want to do, you know, just a stay at a resort somewhere, or if they just want to like travel everywhere, the point is that you should have a plan, that you have the money to do it. And that is something that I try to create for all of my clients. So what about life happens?
Oh, I'm sorry. We do some of those, but we don't call them vacation. We call them staycations because they're so short and quick. So we kind of don't put too much emphasis on it. We might
Well,
do
if you're
3 days.
staying home, that's not a
No,
vacation.
no, we might go to a resort and like a casino resort and stay there for 3 days. We call it staycation, but it's close enough where we don't have to do a lot of driving or flying. So since we know
Okay.
flying and driving, so we call it staycation. It's close where you can go home before in a short period of time. Versus having to drive hours and flying, going through the experience of traveling at a distance versus a shorter one. That's
Okay.
what we do most.
So, what about life happens? You know, are there always emergencies? You know, the water heater goes, the roof leaks, the car breaks down unexpectedly. Could that happen?
Yes, it does.
It does happen, right? So, you know, college, weddings, down payments, new cars, vacations, emergencies, all of these things are going to happen prior to retirement, right?
Agreed.
Right. So, but what we've mostly been planning for is retirement, right?
Yes, to
Okay.
supplement it. Yes.
So, approximately how much money do you have saved for retirement right now?
Maybe about 200 grand.
$200,000? Awesome. How much do you think you need to retire comfortably?
Let's say I'm gonna need about 3 million. I don't know where that's gonna come from.
You think you need 3 million? Okay.
I was told I'm gonna need between either 3 if I want to be good and 2 if I want to survive.
Okay. That's fine. So I just want to time out right there for a quick second, because a lot of people are going to tell you that they have absolutely no idea. And most people are going to tell you somewhere between 1 and 2 million, whatever number they go with, unless it's absolutely ridiculous, just put it down, because it's just a target. Because most people were going to be able to get reasonably close. Notice I don't actually know how much money this family makes right now. I don't know, you know, necessarily where they live, whether they're city, whether they're rural, etc. So that's fine. This is just a target. Okay, great. So Ishmael, let me ask you a question. You've been working
Yes.
for 21 years now, and you've saved $200,000, and that's really great. You know, the fact that you've thought about retirement, that you're working toward retirement, and you've got 18 years to go before retirement, and you feel that you need another $2.8 million to get there. And knowing that you have all of these things to pay for before you get to retirement, let me ask you something. Did you make more money when you first graduated college, or do you make more money now?
When I first graduated college.
You made more money then?
Yes.
What was your first job?
I was director of sales for wireless telecommunication company. So it was at a time where the industry was very
Okay,
young.
thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
And we're gonna keep.
Okay. Okay, perfect. That's fine. So is it that you're now self-employed, that you're making less money now?
Yes, and then now
Okay.
I'm almost at that time it was just being at the right place at the right time with the right company and in the right what should I say, opportunity. So it set up a good standard, and you know, But now we are relaunching that to do it again at this stage. So
Okay. So, just for the sake of this conversation, 99% of people are going to tell you that
the
they
opposite,
made
the opposite.
less money when they first graduated college, that they were basically making peanuts. But when did you have more expendable income? When you first graduated or now?
Now I do.
You have more expendable income?
Because I don't have debt.
Okay. Okay, again, so outlier. The vast majority of people. So Ishmael, when did you graduate college?
2005. I finished college. I wasn't as college type of college wasn't my path of career. I just finished college, but I was already having this. My career was already on the good path before I completed college.
Okay.
So when I went to college, I just went to finish up, but I was already doing very well in that path. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yes. So that is actually what is skewing our conversation here. So the vast majority of clients are going to tell us either they didn't go to college or when they graduated college, they got a job, they were making nothing. They're making a lot more money now. And they had a lot more expendable income when they first graduated. Well, if you made less money then, how did you have more expendable income then than you do now? Well, because they didn't have bills, they didn't have kids, they didn't have obligations, they didn't have all of these things that they needed to spend money on. Make sense? Okay. So great. So remember how we were, where did my mouse go? Remember how we were talking about Cyril Northcote Parkinson a minute ago?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, Parkinson had a second law. And Parkinson's second law says that expenses rise to match the available income. So what that means is, Ishmael, have you ever paid off a car?
I just did one.
You just did. Great. So how much was that car payment?
I was about 600, I should say.
600-ish, close enough.
Yes.
So the month after you paid that car payment off, did you have an extra $600 in your savings account?
It's gonna be this month.
It'll be this month. So this month,
This September.
will you have an extra $600 in your savings account this month?
Yes.
You will.
Yes.
Okay, great. So again, you're the exception, not the rule. Most people are going to look at you and say, probably not. Or they'll try to hedge their bet and be like, well, like maybe half that. Okay, fine. But that's the point, that expenses rise to match the available income. What most people do the second they pay off a car is they go out and buy a new one. So
exactly what I'm doing too.
So you don't have an extra $600 flowing into your savings account.
Because I'm buying an electric car, so I paid off the gas one.
Yeah, okay. So you don't have an extra $600 flowing into your savings account. You're going to buy a new car.
So my answer is I have no expendable income then.
Yes. So you're exchanging one set of bills for another set of bills. And this is what everyone does. So, they pay it off and that money finds a new job. So has everybody heard the phrase, idle hands are the devil's playthings? Anybody? All right, several people here, I know you've heard me say it before. So idle hands are the devil's playthings. Well, idle money works the same way. If we don't give that money a job, it will find something else to do, which may or may not be achieving our financial goals. So that is really what we need to accomplish. So how likely is it, do we think we're going to reach that $3 million in retirement if we know we have to pay for all of these things?
It's very risky. Less likely than highly likely.
It doesn't seem likely, right?
Yeah, less likely than highly likely.
Okay. So what if we could build a plan that you would have that $3 million or real close to it? And it can't lose money. It's guaranteed to be there when you need it. And it won't be taxable in retirement.
That would be great.
Shall we build that plan now?
Yes, please.
Awesome. So we're going to go to our next page. Okay, great. So, Mr. and Mrs. Client, what we need to do here is we need to start building your plan. But to see where we're going, we need to know where we are, right?
Yes.
So can we go through everything that you have going on financially right now to get a sense of where you're going and what we can do to build you that plan?
That would be great.
Okay, awesome. So let's start with income. So what is your annual income?
Mine is 55.
$55,000. Okay. And you said that you're not contributing to qualified funds?
Yeah, because I'm self-employed.
Right. Okay. So what is your spouse's annual income?
She's about 90, I should say.
$90,000?
Yeah.
Too many zeros. Is she contributing to qualified funds?
Yes, she is.
Okay. And is it a 401k, 403b?
Like she has a I think it's 401k type.
401k?
It's LASA. It's the city of Los Angeles.
What does she do?
Works for the city of Los Angeles.
I don't know if that's a 401k
That's-
or 403b. Do you know what
the
she
city of-
contributes monthly?
Let me see. So much stuff they took out.
Ballpark?
Yeah, I think this would be a setback. I'll say maybe about 117, almost 3 a month. About almost close to 290 a month.
290?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know what the current balance is?
Yet today, current balance, I don't know what that is, bro.
Ballpark?
I don't have that number, unfortunately.
For the sake of this conversation, can we call it $150,000?
That'd be ideal. Yes.
Okay, $50,000. Awesome. And is anything matched from her contribution?
I believe so.
Do you know how much is matched?
I think up to 5% of it.
5% of her contribution or 5% of her salary?
Contribution.
Okay, so 0.05. So basically $15 a month is matched.
Something of that nature.
Yep. Okay.
Is that
Update.
about average? Is that about average or?
The most common formula that I see for matching is that the company matches 50% of the client's contribution up to 4% of their salary.
Okay.
But that's
So that's
average,
a common
it
formula.
varies.
Okay. Okay.
But government has a tendency to match less.
Or if they work for city or state or federal.
Yeah, it's a lot of some of them have 457s, which is a little bit better. It's more of a pension fund. But yeah, the matching is not great with
they have a
government
pension
workers.
fund.
Okay, so any other retirement accounts?
No, just those savings.
Just that? Okay. No no Roths, no rollover IRAs, none of that.
Negative.
Close. Any other assets? You said something about a savings account.
Savings I have about a 60 grand.
$60,000. Okay. And what are you contributing to that monthly?
That one, about 1,000 average. That depends based on commission, our end. Just say for the sake, about 3 grand a month.
$3,000 a month? Every month? That's something that we can bank on?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Update. Any other assets, mutual funds, 529s, any of that?
I mean, I have about a cash value policy.
Okay. And do you know what the current balance of that is?
I have about 55 cash, cash. available cash value.
$55,000?
Yes.
Okay, update. And 0. Update. The reason I'm not putting anything in monthly contribution is because I know it's not something I'm going to change at all.
Okay.
Because you said it's a cash value policy.
Okay.
So,
And then I have a betterment account.
you have a what account?
A betterment, like a mutual fund account.
Say that one more
It's,
time.
It's called a betterment account. The betterment account. It's like a mutual fund.
Oh, it's a mutual fund. Okay.
Mm,
Asset. Asset type mutual fund. And how much are you contributing a month?
About 500.
500?
Mm-hmm.
And what is the balance of that account?
That one has 45.
$45,000? Okay,
Yes.
update. Is that it for assets?
That's it.
Okay. So let's take a look at debts.
That's what. Mhm.
So we know that there's going to be a car. So how much is the car payment going to be?
About 1,000.
$1,000 a month? Okay.
Mhm.
New car. And how much is the loan going to be?
About 60 grand.
$60,000. Okay. Update. Any other debts, credit cards, student loans, HELOC?
I mean, student loans, it's not being paid. So it's there, but it's not being paid. It's about 30 grand. I've not paid that in years.
Okay, so $30,000. Is that in deferment?
Yes.
Okay. 0. Update. Any other debts?
Credit card we pay off monthly, so can't call it that.
That is a really good point. So anytime you have a credit card, when you're talking to your client about it, you have to ask them if we pay off this debt, is it going to go away? Is there going to be any rolling debt, any further incurring debts? If it is, if you pay it off every month, that is a lifestyle. That is not a debt.
Oh,
Because quite frankly, that's how I live my life. I pay for everything on my credit card, but I know I'm going to pay it off at the end of the month. I frankly use my credit card just to get points.
me
You know,
too, me
like
too.
gas, groceries, phone bill. It goes to the credit card and then I pay it at the end of the month. That's just how my lifestyle works. And most of us fund our lifestyle on a credit card. The important thing is that we're not incurring debt. Never put anything on the credit card that you don't actually have the money for. So that being said, I just want to be mindful of time because we've got 9 minutes to get through this. So any other debts?
Negative.
Okay. So do you guys own your home?
No.
So you're renting?
Yes.
Okay. If they had a mortgage, that's where we would come in here, maybe. And when we're putting their monthly amount in, we're talking about principal and interest only, because that is something that can change based on the term of the loan, if they refinance, if they pay it off, etc. However, taxes and insurance are never going away. That is a bill, not a debt. So how much is the home worth? Some people will know like that. Some people don't know. If they don't know, pull up Zillow, put in their address, and it'll give you an estimate of how much their home is worth. Owed on their home, that will be on their statement if they don't know off the top of their head. Right now, people are not likely to be doing a whole lot of refinancing because the interest rates are really going up. I looked the other day, it was like 5.9%. However, if people have a lot of debt that they cannot get rid of, even a 6 or 7% loan is going to be less than, $30,000-$40,000 of credit card debt that is incurring 22% on a rolling basis. So refinancing that, rolling it into the house and having a lower interest rate and probably a lower payment is probably in their interest. So it's an avenue to consider. Yeah, so that's that. And general rule of thumb, it's definitely not worth refinancing the home unless at least one of two conditions is met. One, they're pulling out at least $20,000 of equity to pay something off with. Or two, you're lowering their payment by at least $250 a month. Okay. So close that. So Mr. and Mrs. Client, do you mind if we go through all of, so this is your full financial picture, yes?
Yes.
Okay, great. So what we're trying to do is to create the client family bank. So what does a bank have? A bank has cash and cash flow. So cash is a big pile of money. Cash flow is income. So Mr. and Mrs. Client, which one's more important, cash or cash flow?
I would take the cash flow.
Cash flow, right? Because you
Yes.
can't have money going out if you don't have money coming back in to replace it. It would close the bank pretty quickly, right?
Yes.
So honestly, guys, that question is genuinely just to make your client feel smart. Whichever one they tell you, you're going to agree with. And if they say both, you say, great, I am so glad that you're ahead of the curve because you need cash to have anything going out and you need money coming in to replace the cash that's going out. It's a cycle. Okay.
Yes.
So do you mind if we take a look at everything that you're doing right now to see how things can be potentially reworked so that we're building the client family bank?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we're going to start by taking a look at your spouse's 401k. Are you familiar with Ted Benna at all?
Negative.
Okay. So Ted Benna actually created the 401k in the late 70s, and he did an interview with the Wall Street Journal several years back, and he was dismayed at the way the 401k had been implemented in American society. And he said in this interview with the Wall Street Journal, the creator of the 401k said that money that is not matched may be better in another vehicle. So I'm going to say that again. Money that is not matched may be better in another vehicle. And that is the creator of the 401k that said it. So thinking about Mrs. Client's 401k, can we just for the sake of argument, see what it would do to our client family bank to move our unmatched portion of our monthly contribution into the client family bank, keeping in mind that, let me ask you this first. So with the 401k, is this guaranteed to be there when you retire? Could it fluctuate?
Yes, it can.
Is it taxed when
It's
you go
gonna
to
be
use it?
taxed. Yes.
How much is it taxed?
I think about what? There's a penalty, 10% penalty.
When you go to use it, say you're retired and you go to use it, how much is it taxed?
It's gonna be taxed at my income tax rate at that time. So
For that year, right? Do we know how much
Yeah.
that is?
No, that number is still yet to be known because it
That's a
keeps
little
going up.
disconcerting, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you have an idea what the number is?
Unfortunately, I don't have a crystal ball, but I do know that the government just borrowed $10 trillion. So do you think the future tax rates are going to go up, go down, or stay the same?
Definitely go up.
Okay.
I
So,
didn't know I didn't know how much they borrow.
oh, they publicized it
Oh,
early last year. They borrowed a ridiculous amount of money. Um,
gotcha.
So, all right. So can we see, just for the sake of argument, what it would look like to add the unmatched portion of our monthly contribution to the client family bank?
Yes.
Okay. So 275 update. So we've added 275 to our client family bank, which is $3,300 annually. So let's take a look at our savings. So what is this? What is this for?
Uh, just emergency and buying a new car, maybe putting down a percentage of the loan amount to kind of cut down
The
the
payment.
debt.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
cut out the debt. So just not so much the payment, but the debt itself.
the debt itself. Awesome.
Yeah,
So can
because we don't
you,
like that.
right. Can you give me an example of an occasion that you would need $60,000 within the next 48 hours?
None.
Okay. Honestly, the only one I've ever heard is bail. So if you had liquid access to this within 72 hours, it's guaranteed to grow, guaranteed to never lose money. It cannot be taxed. How much of this would you be comfortable reallocating to the client family bank?
I mean, I was hoping you could help me with that because I mean, we're okay with the comfortability. I mean, we don't have any emergency. We don't have any debt, so we know where we're going. So
Okay.
it's just sitting there for maybe we want to pay less debt or not once the car is here.
So just for the sake of seeing it, and remember, we're moving fake numbers from column A to column B. So if we don't like them, we can always move it back. Can we,
Yes,
just for the sake of argument, reallocate $50,000 into our client family bank?
that'll be great.
Okay, $50,000 over here. And of this $3,000, how much could we reallocate to our client family bank?
You can take two out of that.
2,000, perfect.
Mhm.
So we'll still have $1,000 flowing into our savings, which is growing that for any immediate emergencies. But yeah, so we'll see how that looks. So awesome. So now we have $50,000 in the cash portion of our client family bank and $2,200 a month, which is $27,000 a year. So our mutual fund, and guys, just for the sake of our time, I'm not going to go through every single question on every single line item, but I would, if I was sitting with an actual client, ask them all of the questions for every single line item. So how much of the $45,000 can we reallocate to the client family bank for the mutual fund?
I mean, they're performing at a very funny rate. So I was thinking maybe if all of it would be fine, is that within reason?
Great. So we can do that. So if you're completely collapsing the balance, would you be comfortable also reallocating your full contribution to this into the client family bank, given that it's guaranteed to grow, guaranteed to be liquid, and guaranteed to never lose money and not be taxable?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, guys, also with mutual funds, any growth on that is taxable on an annual basis. It's capital gains. Just to keep in the back of your head. Okay,
Mhm.
awesome. So let's take a look at our debts now, just to create some more cash flow. So we have this new car that we want to buy, right?
Mhm.
And it's going to cost us $60,000, and the monthly payment is going to be about $1,000 a month.
Yes.
Can we just pay that off?
The
Can we
car.
see what it would look like to pay it off?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so we'll pay that off. Awesome. Update. So we've now paid off the car. We had $95,000 in our bank. Now we have $35,000 in our bank, but we just added $12,000 a year to our cash flow. That sounds pretty good to me. So what about the student loans? That's going to have to be paid eventually, right?
Yes.
So, and the payment is gonna, when is the payment kicking in again?
Another 5 years.
Should maybe we just see what it does to pay it off now so it's not hanging over our heads?
Yeah, I was hoping I could qualify for the
The
Biden
student
paid
loan
off.
forgiveness?
Yeah, so that's I'm like, why pay it up when they can forgive others, they can forgive mine.
Well, look into that because there's a couple of companies, and I can't remember the names off the top of my head, that did something weird with the student loans and now they're no longer eligible to be repaid. So look into seeing if you can get rid of those by technicality. But just for the sake of this argument, we're going to pay them off.
Okay.
Okay. So based on this example, and sorry guys, we're running a little bit over. I'm going to try to go through this very, very quickly. We have $5,000 in our bank and we're saving $45,000 a year, and we have no more debt, out of debt completely. Sound good?
Yes.
Let's see how this plays out over the next 20 years. Next. Okay. So, the Department of Labor did a study that says that it costs $233,000 to raise a child from birth to age 18, which rolls over to, well, divide that out. That's about $1,100 a month. And that
It
study,
just went up to 300,000.
I'm not surprised. This study was done in
Connecticut.
2017.
Yeah, and Connecticut just came out and says 300,000 now, which scares me.
Yes. So let's say that you are only spending $1,100 on your kids, which this was done for the average family of $100,000 income with 2 children. So remember how we said that Parkinson's law says that money that expenses rise to match the available income? Remember we talked about that? Okay, yes, so we talked about that, and so I'm not saying that you're going to find that entire $1,100 when your kid goes off to college and is no longer living at your house, eating your food, you're not buying their clothes anymore. But could you possibly find $800 a month to save once your child is off at school and all of their expenses are being paid by the $35,000 that you're spending on their room and board and their tuition?
Yes.
Yes, awesome. So we're going to do this. So let's see how this plays out. So year one, we're contributing $5,000 and we're saving $45,000 a year. So what we're saving is $15,000. So we're saving $25,000. We're saving $10,000 because Ball is not living in our house, and we're spending $15,000 to send Ball to school. So we have $40,000 in our bank. 2023, rinse repeat, which brings our total balance up to $55,000. 2024, Ball graduates from college. Ball goes and gets a job. He gets an apartment and goes on living his life. So we're saving $45,000 because we always have. We are saving an additional $10,000 because Ball is living in an apartment on his own now. And we're not spending any money on Ball's college education because he's graduated. So now we're saving $55,000. 2025, rinse repeat, 2026, rinse repeat, 2027, rinse repeat, and we're going to keep going all the way down until 2033, which, by the way, at this point, 2033, we've got $583,000 in our bank. 2033, we are saving $45,000 because we always have. We're saving $20,000, $10,000 per kid because Ball and Joy are one's in an apartment, one's off at school. They're not living in our house, but we're spending $35,000 on college education costs. So we're saving $30,000 for that year. 34, 35, 36, rinse, repeat. 37, what happens? Joy graduates. So we're saving $45,000 because we always have. We're saving $20,000 because Ball and Joy are graduated college. They're off in little apartments. They've got their own jobs, and we're not spending any money on their college. So now we're saving $65,000 a year. So rinse, repeat until 2039, when we're saving $45,000 because we always have, $30,000 because Ball and Joy are off in apartments and Allie's at college, but we're spending $37,500 on Allie's educational costs. So our total that we're saving is $37,800. So we're going to rinse, repeat for 2040, 41, and 42. And from 2043 on, we're saving $45,000 because we always have, $30,000 because all three kids are off in their own little apartments. And now we are saving, and there are no more educational costs. So we're saving $75,000 annually, which brings us to a whopping total of $880,000. What if you could get a guaranteed 40% growth over the next 18 years? How would that make you feel? Anybody?
Really good, really good.
Really good? So, oh, one thing I'm rushing and I'm trying to, so keeping in mind, so what have we not talked about in this column already?
I'm
So
gonna
we've got
mute
800 and,
myself so you can finish faster.
okay. So what have we not talked about in this column over here? We've got $880,000. This is what I call the cash in a tin can column, because we haven't talked about any growth at all. No interest at all. If you took these dollars, shoved them in a tin can and stuffed them under your bed, this is how much money you would have in 2040. So what if we could get a guaranteed 40% growth over the next 18 years? How would that make you feel? They say, awesome. I say, great. Let's take a look at that. So the guaranteed growth, we're at $1.27 million, and we haven't even talked about your current retirement accounts. Will it grow? How much do we think this is going to grow over the next 18 years? Anybody?
Is it the 20, is it what? The 583?
So you've got the 401k and you've got a couple of cash accounts.
Yes.
Or you've got also your life insurance already.
Yes.
So should we say it'll double, triple, quadruple over the next 18 years?
I mean, I would say maybe triple.
Say what?
I would say triple. I don't know
Triple.
about quadruple.
Awesome. So you're saying that it's going to triple. That brings us to $645,000. That brings us to our total retirement of $1.9 million. And keeping in mind,
Wow.
I'm sorry? Yeah.
Is that just for tripling?
Yeah. And none of
Wow.
this is taxable.
Wow.
So this is where I would generally end the first appointment. I would encourage a client to take screenshots, and I'm going to tell them to go home, talk about it with your spouse. What if this could actually work for us? Notice, guys, right now, all we've talked about is the strict numbers. That's all we talked about. We haven't talked about financial vehicles. We haven't talked about where we're going to put this money. None of that. So I want you to talk about, could we actually do this? How would this change our lives? What do we like? What do we not like? And we're going to sit down next week. We'll, take out our calendars, pick an appointment, and do another appointment next week that we're going to talk about the available financial vehicles and what attributes you want your bank to have. And you guys are going to design your own vehicle. Great. Awesome. And so we, at that point, take out our calendars, set that up. Does anybody, I know we've gone over time and I just want to be mindful of that. Does anybody have any questions? And I've been completely ignoring the chat, I just realized. So stop share. And there's nothing in the chat. Okay. So if there are no questions, at this point, thank you guys for coming. And we will continue this next week. And we'll do
So that'll be the second appointment next week from this same scenario.
yes. So from this scenario, we will go through next week to basically design the product.
Gotcha. I guess
Okay.
that's very exciting. Thank you, Kendra. Awesome,
right.
awesome time, awesome training.
Thanks.
Great
Have a
work.
great weekend, guys.
Thank you, dear.
Bye.
Appreciate you.